Today all about brokerages, but before that, is Chrysanthemum a male or female drink? Make a guess. No, it's not sexist, but I feel it's more of a female drink, because it's Chrysanthemum, not ChrysantheDAD. Anyway, what is a broker? Why do you need it? Which is the best? Why is this or that the best? What you should look out for? We'll answer all of that. Or at least I'll try my best to answer all of that now. First up, what is a brokerage? It's a firm set up to handle transactions made in the stock market. You can think of it as like a middleman. So imagine there's a law preventing you from going to the wet market, let's say, and you want to get fishes. What you can do is to get someone, a middleman, to go to the fish market for you to get those fishes. So you still get your fishes, the wet market still manage to sell its fishes, while the middleman will keep a cut of the transaction as his fees. So previously, even now less so, but the main reason why brokerages are needed for those transactions is because the stock markets do not want any Tom, Dick, Harry, any Ahwat, Amal, Ako to walk into the stock market and start selling or buying shares, because if that's the case, there will be tens of thousands of people moving into the stock market and coming out of the stock market every now and then throughout the day, which will pose some crowd controlling issues. So stock market have set in place or limited the number of people who are able to transact in their counters. So previously, before all this electronic innovation come into place, a lot of stock markets are using seats. So there will be like maybe 64 seats in the stock market. So brokerages can buy those seats, and with those seats like SEAT, seat, seat. So with those seats, they will be able to transact stocks and shares listed in that particular stock market. But now, because of all the innovations that brings the world closer together, there is no need for seats, but there is currently membership, and membership are granted, issued, or given to brokerage firms if they meet certain requirements. Number two, what is a stock brokerage account? It is an account you set up with a particular brokerage firm. So depending on the firm's arrangement, you may or may not hold the shares that you purchase through them directly. Sometimes those shares would be in custodian holding, and for most brokerages, actually all of them, because all of them are well established currently, if they are not a big firm or reputable firm, they would get a reputable bank or financial company to be custodian for those shares instead of themselves. And then in Singapore, the shares listed in the Singapore Stock Exchange are held by the Central Depository, which in short we would usually call the CDP. Now the CDP is operated by the Singapore Stock Exchange. So for all new shareholders wannabe, so if you have never owned a share before, what you need to do is to open up a CDP account. Now you can either do it yourself, go to the CDP website and then from there sign up for your CDP account, or another way, an easier route, is when you sign up for a brokerage account. The brokerage firm would usually check for you if you have a CDP account. If not, they would also send you a list of forms to fill up, and then they will help you to proceed setting up a CDP account and link it directly with their brokerage account. If I'm not wrong, just setting up a brokerage account with any brokerage firm in Singapore, you would need to have a CDP account. This one I'm not really sure, because when I set up, it was automatically set up together with my brokerage account, and initially I did not buy Singapore shares, I was buying US stock. Currently, of course, I own some Singapore shares. And if you know more about whether or not a CDP account is needed for every brokerage account setup, you can drop in the comments below so that more of us will get to know this important detail if we need to. Anyway, to add on to the brokerage account, most brokerage account would have either or, either a custodian holding or a CDP link one. Some would have both, like mine, the OCBC one, it has both. So the shares that I buy which are overseas, it will be held in a custodian holding, and the local shares, it will be held in my CDP account. Now what's the difference? If you're owning shares through a custodian holding, you would not get the annual report or the AGM invitation, every year, because public companies need to have an AGM, annual general meeting, every single year, and they would need to release their annual reports every single year to their different shareholders. Now if you own the shares directly through your CDP account, you will receive those annual reports. Whereas if you own them through a custodian holding, like a nominee for example, you would not be receiving those updates. You could, however, still request for those updates from your nominee. So you request to your nominee, and your nominee will request for the annual report be sent to you. Either that or they receive the annual report and they send over to you. So now we'll move on to which is the best brokerage in Singapore. Now this is depending of course, but generally some of the more basic things that we look into are usually more of the numbers. So things like the commission fees, the custodian fee, but there are other things that are not numbers related, which are harder to quantify, like maybe the customer survey or the frequency of response, you know, when you ask them a question, how long they take to reply you in your email. So today we will not take customer service into account. We'll just take numerical numbers, you know, the commission fees, transaction fees, blah blah blah. The reason is because I personally only have ever had open up a brokerage account with one brokerage firm, which means I would only have experience, customer service experience from that one brokerage firm, which means I would be biased towards them. Moving on now, if we just take pure numbers, currently the best of them all is Tiger Brokers. It's a new brokerage firm, therefore it has pretty good promotional rate, so good that it's likely either making a loss or barely making a living, you know, because they're operating to gain trust, gain reputation and market share from the old dogs in the block. Anyways, what it offers, this Tiger Brokers offers, is no custodian holding, no custodian fees, and a pretty low commission rate. No custodian fee meaning $0 in custodian fees. Like for my case, for example, my brokerage account is with OCBC Securities, so I will be charged every month $2 I think for every single counter of the different companies that I might own, which are in the US or anywhere, just not in Singapore, because those companies will be in their custodian holding. And then for low commission fee, Tiger Brokers are offering 0.08% and no minimum transaction fees, which means that all your transaction trades, your buy and your sell, would only be paying 0.08% in commissions to them. Now, if you compare this to my OCBC Securities, my OCBC Securities has a minimum fee of $25 and the transaction commission is charged at 0.225%, which is like 3 times higher. Now do take note that this Tiger Brokers promotional rates would only last until April of 2001, you know, like 2 months later. Now the one drawback is you would have to fund the account directly yourself. What it means is you would have to wire or send them a check to deposit money into the account before you can do any trade. Now the reason why I signed up for the OCBC Securities account was because it offers gyro feature, which means that I could buy and sell shares without putting any money into my brokerage account. The OCBC Securities brokerage account would debit or credit money directly from my bank account linked to them. So this is still the main reason why I have not thought about changing a brokerage firm, but I'm very excited for this lower commission fees, because it would mean that those old dogs in the room, old dogs in the block, like OCB Securities, DBS Vickers, Poems, they would need to very likely in the future, maybe not tomorrow, you know, like maybe a few months down the road, few years down the road, begin to reduce their commission rate in order to compete with this new kid on the block who don't mind losing money or making just enough to gain market share. For the time being, the hassle of depositing money into the brokerage account directly by yourself is still preventing me from trying out Tiger Brokers. So I hope this video answers some of your questions, or hopefully all of your questions about brokerage account, brokerage, and what you need to know to start buying and selling shares. And one tip is, do not follow the internet, do not follow what other people say that you should be buying. Like a few weeks before, there were news about some Reddit page asking people to buy GameStop stock, you know, the Wall Street bet. Do not follow the crowd, as the wise saying goes, because by the time that you are following the crowd, the trend probably would have died down. And also I would advocate you to be an investor, not a trader. The difference is investors would buy into a company that is growing and has a high chance to continue to grow in the next maybe 5 to 10 years, whereas for traders, they just look at the chart and buy, hoping to make a quick profit. Now, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop in the comment section below. This channel, we talk more about personal finance, and we even have a series on credit card. Drop a link, I think, here. Drop any questions into the comments and we will try to answer them directly. If not, we might even do that in a future video. And if you have not done so already, do feel free to subscribe down below so that in our future upload you will not miss it, because we are supposed to upload once every week, but we have been uploading like once every 2 weeks. Anyway, it's Chinese New Year, so 恭喜发财. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you guys next time.